Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Warm welcome to the first day's session of our webinar, Amruta Bindu 2020. Sir, on behalf of our departmental staff, our college, and from our institute members, I welcome you for this first session. The topic being clinical Rasashastra need of the hour. I welcome you, sir, for the first day session, and our title of the webinar being Amruta Bheshaja. So here, Bheshaja meaning it is medicine. As we all know, today the whole world is diverting towards the medicine of Ayurveda, and we are very lucky to be in the field of Ayurveda, as most of the rasadravyas are toxic in nature, but we are converting these rasadravyas into the safe form of medicine, and we are emerging with the Amrita Samana results out of Vishadravyas. As if we go through or recall the Samudra Mantana, Lord Shiva himself has consumed the Visha in the beginning of Samudra Mantana, so as to get the Amruta at the end of the Samudra Mantana. In the same way, we are, being the faculties of Rasashastra and Vaisheshya Kalpana, we are trying to do the Mantana to recall the tremendous knowledge of our Rasashastra and Ayurveda. And with this, our title is suitable for this webinar as Amruta Vaisheshya. And we are very happy to start this. And I am hand over the mic to Dr. Purnima for introduction speech. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam.
Good morning to everyone. I have immense pleasure in introducing the honorable speaker of the day, Dr. Vikram sir. He is presently working as a professor and HOD in Department of Rasashastra and Vaisheshya Kalpana at Sri Sri College of Ayurvedic Science and Research Center, Bangalore. Now, I would like to give brief introduction of his service, works and participation in various events. Sir has worked as external examiner for RGUHS practical examinations. He has worked as squad and observer for RGUHS theory exams. External examiner for Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Kerala. And also as external member for result analysis for Pondicherry University. Sir has working as board studies member RGUHS president Nima Ramnagar district branch and also as director Shushruta Clinic and Diagnostic Center, Tataguni, Bangalore. Sir has attended and participated in state level, national level and international level seminars. He has also attended national level seminar on pharmacovigilance at Belgaum. Sir has also participated in CME program at SSCASR Bangalore, CME program in pharmacovigilance at KLE Belgaum, first convention of Nagarjuna Forum as a member at DGM College, Gadag. He was also a resource person in NRHM training program for Ayush doctors at SSCASR. He has participated in World Ayurveda Congress 2010 at Bangalore, for World Ayurveda Congress and Arogya Expo at Gayatri Vihar Palace Ground, Bangalore. ROTP on Kshara Sutra at Sri Sri College of Ayurveda, Bangalore. He has participated as delegate in the National Seminar and CME program on neurodegenerative conditions and neurolesions at Travancore Cochrane Medical Council. Madhumeha Jignasa, a national seminar at Vishalakshi Mantapa in Art of Living International Center and chairperson in All India Conference. 31st Nimacon and Areike Expo at Dr. Prabhakar Kore Convention Center. He has attended Sambhasha at the National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur International Conference on Scope and Role of Ayurveda in the Management of Madhumeha. Participated in sensitization program on education methodology at RGUHS Bangalore. Participated on 69th NEMA Day and state level seminar at Bapuji MBA College, Davangere. Participated as a delegate in Vajra 2016 International Ayurveda Conclave at Thrissur, Kerala. He has also presented and published various papers, articles and posters in many journals and events. Sir has also attended various workshops held at Belgaum, Hassan, Bangalore and Jamnagar. So, Dr. Vikram Sir's successful clinical achievements through Ayurveda. He has achieved success in treating arterial occlusions and obstruction in the vessels, treating PCOD, treating infertility and treating spondylosis. Sir is honored by the RGUHS for the dedicated work done as a NSS program officer with certificate and memento. He is also honored and awarded by the Vaidyanatha Company Private Limited Centennial Award for the successful treatment in arterial disease due to diabetes. He is honored for rich contribution for Ayurveda Vidvat Parishad in Art of Living International Center, Bangalore. And he also awarded with Kannada Pustaka Odaya. Sir has given a radio talk on Negadi Kemu Matu Parihara at 104 FM, Bangalore. He has also participated in various TV programs and addressed various health issues to the mass. So with this, I conclude my brief introduction of sirs and request Dr. Vikram sir to continue with his presentation. Please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your kind concern. Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Vikram speaking. Jai Gurudev, with the blessing of our Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Gurudev. Hereby, I would like to present myself in front of you. I take an opportunity to salute and render my pranams to His Holiness Sriman Niranjana Pranama Guru Mahanta Swamigalu, Ilkal Mata. In the same way, I salute and to Dr. K.C. Das, Principal, Ilkal College, and also I respect Dr. Neela Madam, Dr. Anupama Madam, and Dr. S.N. Gotur Sir, and one of my good friend, Dr. Prakash Tariwal, and others of the institution. I really thank you one and all for giving me an opportunity to present my clinical success stories in front of you. Dear friends and my dear students, this Rasa Shastra, it's one of the gem of Indian system of medicine and Indian tradition, which has come to the scene, since 8th century. Actually, before that, Ayurveda was in highlight and streamline. After that, there are n number of researchers were there. We could able to see in our classics. This so what happened? Sorry, just a sec. So many researchers were there. How to achieve optimum health and good health and without any diseases and to lead a long life was the question in front of our researchers. For that, so many researchers are taken place in the field of Ayurveda. Gradually, there was an inclusion of metals, minerals, poisonous drugs, gemstones into the field of medicine, where after 8th century, there was a big change in the history of medicine. there our people started using mercury as a main medicine and Rasaushadis as the main medicine, and they claim so much of things about our Rasaushadis, and they are proven also. So in this regard, we Rasashastra scholars we are also doing so many researches in inventing so many new drugs, new formulations, and also reproving the old tradition which is told in our classics of Rasashastra, and using such medicines for the treatment of so many incurable diseases, and also new diseases which are coming into the world. Actually, they are becoming the threats nowadays. So many diseases are there which are not able to answer by the other parallel systems which are there in our in this world. So at that time, whenever there is no scope or no hope for any other medicines, at that time you can see the answer in the system of Ayurveda. Actually, now in the present trend also, since 4 or 5 months, our world is facing so much of panicity. It is we people are becoming panic about the coronavirus, the COVID-19 disease, where allopathic and other systems are not able to give a strong relief or complete relief to the patient. At that time, see, we can see in this lockdown period also, Ayurveda is becoming blown up, and it is growing like anything. Ayurvedic medicines are sold in the market because the main aim of our Ayurvedic medicines is swasthasya swastha rakshanam, aturasya vikara prashamanam. That is, our Ayurvedic medicines both they helps for both to preventive aspects as well as the curative aspect. So people are especially in Bangalore nowadays, people are behind this kashayas, behind this samshamanivati, and so many other tablets are there. They are sold in the market like anything. They are ready to give any value, any of the whatever the money you charge, they are ready to give. Such a demand is there for Ayurveda nowadays. So why I am telling is I wanted to boost your interest in the field of Ayurveda, in the field of Ayurvedic medicine, and in the field of practicing Ayurveda actually. So now I am working as a professor and HOD, but I am more interested in new formulations, and also in treating more of complicated diseases which can be addressed, which cannot be addressed by so many other parallel systems. Such diseases can be addressed through Ayurveda, especially by using Rasaushadis. So and to prove this, we got an award because of our teamwork in Sri Sri Ayurveda Hospital. We were recognized by Baidyanath company to treat such a incurable diseases. I am not boasting myself, but I wanted to present in front of you that this is you can Google also. This is the first time in the history of medicine where arterial diseases can be cured without any surgery. So this, dear friends, today I would like to present one of such a rare case in front of you, which we got success in our hospitals by treating only through Ayurveda, not using any of the allopathic drugs. So this is what the award we received from Baidyanath company, and they have celebrated 100 years of their company's inauguration, and after starting the company they completed 100 years. In that auspicious day, they have awarded such a beautiful award for the institution. I really salute for that. See, aim of Ayurveda is, as I told, swasthasya swastha rakshanam, aturasya vikara prachamanam cheti. That is atura vyadi parimokshas Other sloka is also there. So we first thing we should see, should look into the things that we should not get the disease. Always our dosha should be in an equilibrium state. Dhatu should be normal. Mala pravruti, everything should be normal. Dosha, dhatu, mala, samya should be there. Okay. In case we cannot say that always we will not get the disease. In case disease comes also, we should be able to treat such particular disease. Disease may be a simple disease or complicated disease, curable or incurable. Curable disease can be cured by anybody, but incurable disease where complication will be there, such disease, it becomes a difficult task for the Vaidyas. So in that particular situation, our Rasaushadhis are the, what I say by my experience is, Rasaushadhis are the answer for that. So that only our Nagarjuna has told, Siddhe Rase Karishyami Nirdaridram Idam Jagat. That is, if you are able to get Siddhi or success in Rasaushadhis, in preparation of Rasaushadhis, or in giving the Rasaushadhis, or treating the patients by using this Ayurvedic and Rasashastra Aushadhis, then you can make this word divide of poverty and Daridrata. Daridrata, once again, it is a Daridrata by the bodily or physical, means that is because of the disease, poverty will come, or because of the Daridrata, we are not doing proper work, we are not active, we are not earning, then also poverty will come. See, nowadays you can see there is a great loss to the country, to the world, because of this COVID-19. COVID-19 is there, the economy has come down now. Not only to the country, not only to the world, it is even all families are facing the difficulty in earning. Actually, economical status has come down. So this is what the Daridrata. See, if some medicine was there earlier, before the COVID has entered into the humanity, if some medicine is there, this much of lockdown would not be there, and also this much of poverty would not be there to the country, isn't it? So that's what it is. In those days only, our Acharya Nagarjuna has told, Siddhe Rase. So we always should be, how we should be, we should always be prepared to face any of the targets, any of the diseases which are coming into the humanity or mankind. So that's why Siddhe Rase Karishyami Nirdaridram Idam Jagat, Nirdaridram Agadam Jagat, both are there. So it holds good for present day also. So some of the slokas, actually I was really impressed by these slokas. That's why I am adding before I go to my real presentation. See, Rasashastra is such a wonderful medicine, Rasaushadhis, and Rasashastra is a wonderful subject. Now, they say, Nacha Rasashastram Dhatu Adartam Mantavyam, Dehavada Dwara Muktireva Paramat Prayojana. There are two entities are there in Rasashastra. One is Dehavada and another one is Dhatuvada. Dehavada is there, which helps this. By using this Dehavada, we can control so many diseases. We can make our body Ajara and Amara. By this, moksha is there. Another one is Dhatuvada. By doing Dhatuvada, we can convert our lower metals into higher metals like gold, so that we can make our family rich, our status as a rich status, and also our country as a rich country. This is one of the very, very important word, which shloka which is told in Rasashastra. And also another one is Alpa Matram Upayatvat Aruchar Raprasangatha Shipram Arabhya Dayidvat Aushadabhyo Adhiko Rasa. That is, we use this Rasaushadhis in a very small quantity, which I am going to explain how much small dosage we are given. We are not giving in a lifetime medicines are not, we are not giving, we are giving the medicine only to 1 month, 2 months, like that, where this is getting cured and we will withdraw the medicine. Okay, that's why. And also there will not be any taste. Okay, aruchi, aprasangata. It is not there. These medicines are not having any taste. Okay, they are not causing any vomiting sensation. They are not, patients are not getting hesitated to take such medicines. And also immediately it is going to give the result. Immediately it is going to cure the diseases what the patient is suffering. Such a wonderful medicines are there in Rasashastra. Only thing, we have to study it properly. So many says they are toxic, so many says they are causing nephrotoxicity, neurotoxicity, hepatotoxicity. Since 15 years I am using, my experience I am telling you, since 15 years, every day minimum 10 to 15 patients I give only Rasaushadhis, but till today I have not even seen a single patient which is complaining about the Rasaushadhis or any adverse effect of Rasaushadhis. Okay. And also, Madam was while introduction, Madam was telling actually about Vishadravas. Of course, we use Vishadravas. Every drug is which is more poison. the drug which is poisonous is in a smaller quantity. It is nectar, amruta only. Okay, in a very small quantity. Okay, that's why in Charak Samhita it is told Yogadapi Visham Tikshnam Uttamam Beshajam Bhavet. Veshajam Chapi Duryuktam Tikshnam Sampadate Visham. That is the yoga which is used, any formulations, if it is not given in a proper dosage, if it is not prepared in a proper method, then it becomes visha. If the same medicine, if it is given in a proper dosage, proper time, and proper anupana, etc., by diagnosing the disease, definitely it becomes a nectar. Okay, of course, we have so many says mercury is poison, lead is poison, your gold is also poison. Everybody says abraca is poison. Yeah. Of course, I also accept it, because everything in raw form, whatever it is available in the nature, it is a poison only. For example, you see rice, paddy we are growing in the field, and after that we are dehusking it, and then we are cooking into rice. If that same rice, if it is not cooked properly, definitely it will become poisonous, because immediately if it is half boiled rice, if you consume, immediately you will start gastritis, or you will start vomiting, you will start to lose motion, isn't it? So if such things are there with the simple rice only, then why can't these metals, minerals, they are available in the nature. They are, of course, they are in the raw form, they are very much poisonous. But only thing, when we process them properly in our lab or in our pharmacies, whenever we prepare a proper medicine, whenever we are according to the dose which is told in the classics, then only it will become a nectar. Okay. And also this sloka, which I am very much impressed from Charaka Vimanasthana, it is Sarvaushadhi Visharadaha Bishak Sarvamayan Hanti Sarva Beshajaha Tatvagno Ragnaha Pranarpati Bhavet. That is, the doctor should know each and every formulations. Nowadays, I have seen in the Ayurvedic fraternity only. No, I don't use Rasaushadhis. No, I am worried about Rasaushadhis. I am worried about Kashayas. I am worried about using these chunas and all. I don't know what poison, what heavy metals it contains. I don't know. See, saying I don't know is very much easy, but saying that I know everything, I will use this, I will definitely use this, because our people are very much interested in giving allopathic medicines, but they are when we study Ayurveda, we should believe in our science. When we study Ayurveda, we should give it to the patient, isn't it? Then only any science which is useful to the mankind, any degree, if it is not useful to the mankind, it's a waste. When it is useful to the mankind, then only it is a very good science, and we should have some productivity in that particular science. See, our people, they are, most of the time they study Ayurveda and they practice allopathy. I am not against to such type of people, but I am telling them at least 10 to 20% you practice allopathy. I know in some of the critical conditions, some of the emergency conditions, some of the Atteka Chikitsa, we need allopathic medicines, but we have some lacunas in our Ayurveda also. But most of the diseases are curable by Ayurveda only. Okay, where allopathy is not having the answer, where allopathic is not the first drug of choice, at that time, why can't we use Ayurveda? Ayurveda, it gives a better result. Immediately, if fever comes, you just go for the paracetamol. But after that, to control that infection or control that complications of the fever, or what was the cause for the fever, at that time, we can attend it by Ayurveda, and especially Rasaushadhis. They give a very, very wonderful result. So this Sarvaushadhi Vishara. So being in this program, actually, so many UG and PGs are there with our so many different colleges. Okay, I request all of you, you believe in Ayurveda, believe in our medicines. Then only, when you believe, then only your medicine will work. When you don't believe, even if you take nectar from the heaven also, you will not be all right. Okay, that's why we should have always faith in our science. Okay. Then this is what actually brief introduction. Today's my presentation. I am going to deal about tell you regarding how we got the success in ischemic gangrene actually. This was a gangrene which was because of the diabetes, and patient was also tuberculosis patient, and it has gone to so many different hospitals in Bangalore. I have all the documents to show you. This one story I am going to present in front of you. If you want to see so many success stories about Ayurveda, about our treatment, you can go to my YouTube channel there, successful Ayurveda treatment by Dr. Vikram. Yes, if you go, you can see all the patient feedback, which patient only have given is uploaded there. You can see. Okay. So let me start my presentation. Success story of ischemic gangrene. See, long back, in 2016, a patient by name Sundaramma, she was around 62 years. She came to our hospital, that is Sri Sri Ayurveda Hospital, and she was having complaints. What complaints? Complaints of severe pain and burning sensation in right hand. In right hand, she was having pain, and there was a discoloration in the fingers of right hand, and also forearm discoloration was there, and ulcer was there in the elbow joint and thumb, and neck was there in the thumb with the pus discharge. The very much foul smell was there when I seen the patient first time, and associated with difficulty in movement of right arm and shoulder joint, elbow joint, palm and fingers. These were the chief complaints of the patient. And this actually, I was a bit excited and a bit worried why this patient has come to Ayurveda actually, because just by seeing the patient only, we could see, it was a bit difficult to treat. Okay, this is I think you can, all of you can see the photograph. This Sundaramma, you can see the right hand and necrosis of the right thumb. Okay, and here the clear demarcation is there. See, I can see, I will show you the nearest photograph. See, now you can see it properly. See this discoloration. Here the pus was there and very much foul was there. This was the condition actually. And see, you can see the demarcation in inside of this thumb and below the thumb. There was clearly demarcation was there. And this is the different photographs at different angles. Okay. Okay, this is the near photographs, and it was just like a charcoal. Okay, charcoal. It was totally black in color. Okay, you can see in different edition. You see in the elbow joint also, near the elbow, there was a ulceration was there, and from the shoulder to from the shoulder to the fingers, there was not even a single drop of blood. When I seen the pulse was also not there. You can see the photographs. I will pass now. Patient was, she was, when I took the history of the patient, she was known case of diabetes mellitus, and she was on medication since 6 years. And she was a known case of tuberculosis. This is the complication here. She was a known case of tuberculosis and with medication since 3 months. Patient was previously consulted and admitted at KIMS Hospital on 25 to 2016, and condition was diagnosed as right upper limb ischemia and was advised for right upper limb amputation. Patient was she was consulted the doctor there. She was already admitted there. Patient attender was he was also my patient who was taking the treatment for different elements, infertility and also for diabetes. All of a sudden, he called me and told, sir, my aunt is suffering with so-and-so. She was admitted in KIMS Hospital. She wanted, doctor told that immediate surgery is needed, and patient is refusing to go for the surgery. And also, doctor is also telling that he is not giving 100%, assurance about the curing of this particular ischemia, or whether patient is going to live or not after the amputation. That is also in doubt. So what to do? Then I was a bit worried. Then I took all the reports in the WhatsApp, and they sent the reports on my WhatsApp. Then I told, it is here also in Ayurveda also it is very difficult. What to do? I don't know. And then patient told, no, sir, we will bring the patient to you. You just see it, what to do and all. After that, if you say it is not possible, then what can we do? We cannot do anything. So like that, different conversation was there. and then later they brought the patient, okay, by taking a discharge from the KIMS hospital. They discharged against the medical advice, and they took the patient to me. Okay, see this one discharge summary from the KIMS hospital. You can see here. Okay, you can see the date also. You can see the discharge on request, that is discharge against medical advice. Actually, it is told. See Sundarama, you can see here, and right upper limb ischemia, severe NPDR. Okay, patient was advised here, advised on discharge. What the patient was advised about the immediate requirement of surgery and the complications associated with the conditions if further management is not done. Everything was told to the patient actually. See, the patient was admitted under Dr. Vikram, that is me, at Sri Ayurveda 2016. Patient was sent to department, and again, after seeing the patient, because this is the first case for me, and it is highly complicated. I have seen such a patient during my internship, and when I was working with allopathic doctors, where they were doing bypass surgery for this. At that time, I have seen in nursing homes and cardiovascular. I was working with a cardiovascular surgeon. That's why I was earlier knowing such type of patients. Okay, but they were doing surgery, they were doing amputation. Actually, I was a bit worried why they are doing all these things without doing some other things. Okay, but seeing the patient condition, I was also a bit worried. And then patient, again, I sent that patient to Department of Shalyatantra in our hospital. And they told, oh, no, Vikram, you don't take this patient because it is very complicated. Amputation is the only choice of treatment. Don't take such type of patients. Then I was a bit worried about whether to take the patient or not. Okay, again, I sent that patient to Sri Jayadeva of Cardiovascular Science and Research, which is there. It is a very famous institution for such type of cardiac diseases and vascular diseases. Okay, on 2/3/16, there also it was diagnosed as a right upper limb arterial occlusion and ischemia with delayed presentation, and they opined that a patient may benefit with right upper limb amputation, but in view of tuberculosis, patient was referred to multi-speciality hospital. Okay, yeah. First of all, I was thinking Jayadeva itself is a multi-speciality and super speciality hospital. Again, they were not having such a facility to go for amputation because of patient was having tuberculosis. So they referred once again it to another multi-speciality hospital. See, you can see the 2/3/16 date also there. Case was seen by Dr. Karthik. They also told upper limb ischemia, delayed presentation with active TB. Okay, it is here. You can see the diagnosis. Okay, by seeing the CT angio, they are told like this. See, patient may benefit with right upper limb embolectomy, but high risk of limb loss will be there. In view of active TB, refer the patient to multi-speciality hospital. This was the opinion given in Jayadeva Institute of Cardiovascular Science and Research. Okay, again, patient came back to me. Sir, in Jayadeva also it is told like this, what to do, what not to do. Then last choice, nothing, only Ayurveda, only Rasaushadhis. See, then what to do? Patient already, nobody is accepting the patient, nobody is ready to go for the surgery. Even surgeons also refuse, even cardiovascular science also, and they refuse. Then last option was Ayurveda only. They came to me and I told, even if I die also, I will die in your hospital only. I will not go anywhere. So then by praying God, Lord Dhanvantari and Lord Shiva, our Gurudev's, taking the Gurudev's blessing, we started the treatment. Before we started the treatment, let me explain you what are the diagnostic methods we followed actually. Physical examinations. Physical examinations revealed absence of pulse at right radial and brachial artery, and by seeing the discoloration of the limb with necrosis of the thumb, it is felt that there is a problem with circulation. One thing, by seeing the pulse only, there was no pulsation, arterial pulsation was not there. So it clearly it indicated that there is some problem with the arteries, that is circulation problem is there. Laboratory routine blood investigations and blood biochemistry, homocysteine level, everything was conducted in our hospital also, and earlier reports were also there with the patient. Okay, and patient was already taken the CT angio of the right upper limb, and to know the extent of arterial block, and report says that focal luminal narrowness of 80% was noted in the distal part of right subclavian artery, distal part of right axillary, brachial, ulnar and radial artery, and they are not at all visualized. I will show you the CT angio photographs in the next slides. And Doppler study is also one of the important technique tool for to know about the extent of arterial block, to know about the circulation, arterial and venous circulations. Doppler study is one of the best tool, and CT angio is one of the best tool for diagnosis such diseases. And Doppler study was also done to understand the arterial flow. And it is the report. Report says hypoechoic thrombotic thrombus. Hypoechoic thrombus involving the right axillary, brachial, ulnar, radial arteries with no flow. There was no flow at all. Highly resistant monophasic flow in the right subclavian artery was there. You can see the Doppler study. See, this Doppler study was done in KIMS Hospital only, Bangalore. Hypoechoic thrombus involving the right axillary, brachial, ulnar, radial arteries with no flow. You can see this here. This is the Doppler study report, and highly resistant monophasic flow in the right subclavian artery. You can see this. You can see the date also, 26th February 2016. And right upper limb CT angio. CT, this is one of the best method to see the circulation. It says that, see the report here, it is there. Focal luminal narrowness of 80% noted in the distal part of the right subclavian artery, distal part of the right axillary artery, brachial, ulnar and radial arteries are not at all visualized. Okay, this is the report from KIMS Hospital, Bangalore. See, this is the photograph of CT angio. After injecting the dye into the arteries, they will take the photographs like this. That is radiation will be passed, through this, and you will get. This is, you can see the brachial artery here. You can see the brachial artery. The remaining arteries you cannot see at all. They have become opaque. Opaque means the circulation is not there. If this type of transparency is there after giving the dye, it indicates that there is a circulation. Blood is moving there. Till this area, you can see the blood. Here partially you can see, but in other parts of the hand, you cannot see the blood at all. Okay. See one more photograph I'll show. See, now you can see it better in the see. There is no circulation at all. It has become dark and opaque. This shows that there is not even a drop of blood. And initially, I had taken this chest X-ray also. You can see the extent of tuberculosis in the left. Chest is totally opaque is there. You cannot see the lungs at all. This is the extent of tuberculosis in the patient. Okay. The patient is diabetic, patient is tuberculosis. Along with that, this is a complication of the diabetes and tuberculosis, that is the arterial occlusion. Usually, if you go to the medical history and medical field, usually this occlusion, arterial occlusion or thrombus or ischemia, it is more common in the lower limbs, not in the upper limbs. Upper limbs, it is very rare, and there is no treatment. You can see, you can Google it. Okay. But this is such a case which is which has come to our hospital. Very rarest of the rare case actually with such a complications. This was the diagnosis, and other blood reports are here. And but this one, homocysteine level was not done. Homocysteine, it is one of the cause for the thrombus or arterial occlusion. That was also done, but homocysteine level was very much normal to that particular patient. And the challenges, what were the challenges we were supposed to face? Actually, we faced during this type of diagnostic. Patient was from poor background. Actually, that was actually challenge for us to, if we write medicines of higher this one values are which are costly, patient was unable to take. If you what to do actually, patient from poor background. In the initial stage of patient was hesitated to consult the doctor. so that the disease condition was very much worse actually, and has become the challenge for the diagnosis. The diagnostic reasoning, the patient was clearly diagnosed with what was the reason for this type of diagnosis. Patient was clearly diagnosed with atrial occlusion by sophisticated techniques, which are modern techniques such as Doppler and CT angio, where there was no room for the differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis cannot be done at all, because already patient came with a proper diagnosis and also prognosis also. Prognosis characteristic, it is a challenge because prognosis was very poor, as earlier consultant advised for immediate this one amputation of the limb, and also by considering diabetes mellitus and tuberculosis, the life risk was too high for a medical and surgical intervention. Okay, if you go for the proper medical intervention, patient will not survive because of the septicemia. If you go for surgery also, patient will not survive because of the tuberculosis, where they cannot give the general anesthesia, they cannot give the local anesthesia, and anesthetist told that patient is going to die immediately if we give anesthesia. Okay, such was a bad condition, pathetic. It was very pathetic actually. And then by believing Ayurveda, believing Rasavashti, we started the treatment actually. I admitted the patient, and what are the treatment I have given, I have listed here. That is Jerica Darista 20 ml TID. These were the prescriptions actually. Abhyarista was given 20 ml TID. Aragyavardhini 1 tablet TID is given. Nityananda Rasa 1 tablet TID was given. Amla Parimala, because of the acidity was there, gastritis and Amla Pitta was there. So that's why Amla Parimala 1 tablet before food was given. Mehantakavati 1 tablet TID. It is from Sri Sri company, Sri Sri Ayurveda. Mehantakavati, because to control the diabetes. And capsule Cruel is there. It is from Vargo, UAP Vargo. Capsule Cruel, which contains Sarna Basma, Rajata Basma, Vajra Basma. Okay, that is also given. And syrup Cardorium Plus. This is from Alkananda. This is a blood purifier and also helps in clearing the vessels actually, clearing the blood vessels. That is Cardorium Plus 10 ml TID. Okay. And also Sthanika Abhyanga to the right upper limb with Jatyadi Taila, and Sthanika Svedana was given, Nadi Sveda was given. And anti-tubercular and anti-diabetic drugs, which were already prescribed by the allopathic system of medicine, they were also continued. They were not disturbed actually. See, Abhyarista helps to, helps for the improving the digestion and evacuation of the bowels. Jericarista helps for the digestion, proper digestion, and it is a carminative also. As patient was very much emaciated, I wanted to improve the digestive and Agni actually. Agni of the patient. So these drugs were selected. Aragyavardhini, as you know the ingredients: Rasagandha Loha, Basilbo Basmam, Samamshakam, Trifla Dugunam, Trigunam Chilajatu, Chaturgunam, Puram Suddham, Chitramulam Tatsamam, isn't it? Such a wonderful drug, Aragyavardhini. Why I have given Aragyavardhini? Because it contains Tamra Basma actually. Tamra Basma, Loha Basma, Abraka Basma, and Parada and Gandhaka, along with some herbal, and also this Aragyavardhini gives a lot of strength and immunity to the patient, and also it improves the hepatic hepatobiliary functions, and also it secretes lot of enzymes. Okay, that's why Aragyavardhini what is I selected here. And Nityananda also contains Parada, Gandhaka, and Tamra Basma, and with so many other ingredients. This Nityananda Rasa is actually, especially it is told in Slipada actually, Slipada, but it works more in arterial disease where occlusion is there. In Slipada also the worms, they are going to filariasis, that infection is going to obstruct the vessels and it is going to cause the filariasis. That's why here also obstruction was there, that Nityananda Rasa was selected here. And also along with that, this capsule Cruel, this contains Vajrabhasma, Swarnabhasma. Vajrabhasma is such a wonderful medicine in Rasaushadis actually, where this whatever the obstructions are there, whatever the unwanted obstructions or growths are there, this Vajrabhasma makes a wonder. It goes to that particular targeted growths and obstructions and it clears it very quickly. That's why this Vajrabhasma is used here. Okay, and Sthanika Abhyanga, because why I use this, I wanted to stimulate the cells around our arteries and also in the upper limb. That's why I selected this Abhyanga and in Charaka also it is told that even a stick which is very very dry, after doing a proper oilation or lubrication and with proper Svedana, it can be also bent in a proper way. That's why this hand, totally upper limb was stiff and she was not able to move it. That's why I selected this type of treatment actually. And initially what happened actually, when I tried for Jalavka also here, Jalavka, but as there was no circulation at all, not even a single drop of blood in a right upper limb, the Jalavkas are clearly refused. They were not at all pricking and they were not at all sucking the blood. As there was no blood, it was, I became failed in applying Jalavkas. And I tried pricking the upper limb with at different places with a small needle, and I tried around 10 to 15 pricks, but not even a single drop of blood was there. Okay, so Jalavkas they didn't catch there. And as you know, one more thing, surgical intervention, as right upper thumb was totally necrosed. It was already detached from the hand. Even just by pulling it, it has come out, and remaining tendons which were attached there, it was just removed there only on the OPD basis without any anesthesia. It has came out. Okay. Changes, initially 4-5 days I told Jalavka were done, but as there was not much flow of blood, Jalavkas were not actively sucking the blood, so it was discontinued. Clinician and patient assessed outcome actually. The patient was admitted SSCSRH in our hospital. Every day follow-up was done for general conditions of diabetes level. Patients was continuously monitored for the wound healing of the thumb and re-establishment of the pulse and blood circulation. Every day I used to visit that patient 2-3 times. Every day pulse, I personally used to check the pulse, personally used to check the BP, personally used to see the wound dressing. I was only doing actually. My PGs who are there, in RSBK PGs, they were helped me a lot, because every day and night they used to take care of the patient, because I worried more about septicemia, because already there was a necrosis. If that septicemia spreads to the body, definitely patient is going to die. Okay, that's why I was a bit worried about the patient. See, after after this seeing this such type of granulation, I was feeling so much happy, because when I removed this thumb, at that time not even a single drop of blood was there. But gradually after 9 to 10 days, you could see the granulation properly. And when I pricked here, and I was doing dressing, at that time there was no foul smell, and here small drop of blood started oozing. Then actually I was very very happy by seeing that, and then I thought, oh, something is there, some re-establishment of circulation is there, and our drugs are working. Okay, this is the photograph after 9 to 10 days. You can see the photograph of the granulation tissues has started coming. Okay, see, you can see the granulations here. You can see the this is 13 to 14 day photographs of the patient. Okay, right upper limb where one thumb is removed and remaining tissues started granulating. This indicates that there is some circulation re-establishment is there. Okay, you can see the redness. How you can see the redness? You can see, this is what. And they regularly dressing was done, and you can see the different stages of granulation. At the end, at the end of 1 month, 5 days, like that, you can see the healing. This is the thumb which is removed, and you can see the healing. You see the different photographs. First 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the tendon. White, you can see. This is the tendon. This is the granulations without any infection. I have not at all used any antibiotics, for your kind information. I have not used any painkiller, for your kind information. She was crying because of the pain, because of the cramps which are coming. But I never used any painkiller, and I was not at all giving any antibiotics for the same. And for God's sake, fever was not there. See, you can see the completely healed here. Okay, you can see the complete healed. In between, one of our consultant who is doing a plastic surgery, he came and he told that, Dr. Vikram, I want to go for this plastic surgery, skin grafting for this. That I will do. As you are doing such a such a case you are taken anyhow, circulation re-established. I want to go for a skin grafting without any cost. And then I told, no sir, I want to heal it but through Ayurveda only, through Ayurvedic medicines only. It is going to heal. If it is not all going to heal, I will definitely call you, sir. Like that I told. Then we didn't go for any of the skin grafting. The wound has healed its own by our Jatyadi Taila only. Okay, Jatyadi Taila dressing and washing that wound with a Gomutra Arka every day, and after that we used to apply Jatyadi Taila and do the dressing. Okay. See, after complete healing, you can see the hand like this. Okay. See that this is the patient, complete healing. Okay. And when complete healing was there, then I went for this is the, you just see, this has taken, that was in the 2nd month. Patient came to me in the 3rd month. After 2 months, after 2 months of treatment, a repeat upper limb Doppler study was done, advised for the patient, and it was done on 5/5/2016. The report says that no hemodynamically significant stenosis in the right upper limb arterial system. Other details regarding the phase of flow, etc., are mentioned in the image below. You can see the Doppler image. You can see it is done in Trinity. My name is here. You can see the Dr. Vikram. To 5/5/2016. You see no hemodynamically significant stenosis in the right upper limb arterial system. Earlier Doppler, which was done in the KIMS hospital, what you have seen? There was no flow. Okay, the subclavian artery, brachial artery, ulnar artery, there was not at all a flow. Okay, everything is occlusion was there. Here, see, triphasic flow is there in subclavian artery, axillary artery biphasic is there, brachial artery biphasic is there, radial artery biphasic is there, ulnar artery biphasic is there. Okay, this is what the Doppler study. Okay, after done, this is finally we got a success in achieving the re-establishment of the circulation which was obstructed. Okay. As a discussion, strength and limitation, patient was poor and was strongly not willing to lose the hand, but she was willing to face the death by septicemia. She don't want the surgery, and she was having faith in Ayurvedic treatment. This is most important. People who are giving the medicine, they should also have the faith in Ayurveda, and people who are taking the medicine, they should also have the faith in Ayurveda. So by considering the request of the patient, by taking high risk, consent was taken. Of course, this is our procedure actually. Whenever we see such a difficult case, such a complicated case, being a doctor, we should have always protect ourselves also. We should take a high risk consent of the patient before you start the treatment. Limitations, same thing may not happen with the other patients also. Okay, other similar condition you cannot expect the same from other patient also, but it has become the miracle with this patient. Relevant medical science, when we Googled it before we start the treatment, relevant medical science says that ischemia arterial occlusion is a common complication in diabetes, especially in lower limb. I told earlier. Also, same can happen in smokers, aneurysm, thromboembolism, trauma, etc. But most commonly happens in lower limb. In upper limb, it is a rare actually. But it has happened to this patient. Anything may happen with the patients. Okay, patient was diagnosed as ischemic arterial. Rationale for conclusion. The ischemic arterial disease with the earlier reports, which may be because of diabetic complications. In my view, it can be compared with Srota Avroda, which may be because of Dushta Kapha and Ama, which are the main cause for Prameha. Ama and Dushta Kapha will make Jatra Agnimandya, by which Dhatva Agnimandya takes place, by which there will be a blockages in the Srotas, that is Srota Avroda. These are all Ayurvedic explanation. What we have compared this particular allopathic diagnosis into Ayurveda, at that time, these are all the things we learned from this particular patient. Here also, Rasavaha and Raktava Srota Avroda was there, which is ended up with a blockage in the arteries, which is the main cause for ischemic gangrene. The treatment modality was also done according to Rasavaha and Raktava Sroto Dushti Chikitsa and got success. In such type of patients, by systematic approach, through Ayurveda, one can get success in the treatment and also can save the limb and life of the patient. The primary takeaway lesson from this case report is patient was advised for right upper limb amputation immediately, and also because of active tuberculosis, patient was explained about the high risk factor of various multi-specialty hospitals of such a complicated case can be handled by Ayurvedic methods of management by which one can prevent amputation of the limb and also achieve re-establishment of the arterial circulation by proper planning of the treatment, by proper care of the patient. No, you can treat such type of complicated diseases. Okay, and here, which is given by the patient attender, we have given such a. Can you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to listen this?
No, sir. Audio is not audible.
You cannot. This is the video and audio is there. You can go to successful Ayurveda treatment by Dr. Vikram S in a YouTube channel. You can see the. You can listen to the audio also. Okay, I will move. Shall I move?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll see it.
Yes, sir. You can move.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, which we had. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Shall I conclude?
Yes, sir.
Shall I stop the presentation?
No, no, sir. You can continue, sir.
You want me to continue? Okay. So many cases are there. Okay, this was such a complicated case. I presented in detail. So many other cases are there. Regularly patient used to come to our clinic, our hospital, and we used to treat it only through Ayurveda. Such type of cases, few cases I have recorded here, and every cases I am regularly I am making the recording, and I am keeping the documents in a proper way. And a few will be the complicated cases which I would like to present in front of you. In that, another one case is polycystic ovarian disease. This polycystic ovarian disease is a very much complicated. It is a very simple disease, but nowadays so many people are getting complications by this particular problem. Actually, polycystic ovaries, where ovaries are around that ovaries, there will be a fluid collection. Cyst will be formed actually, and where the female in teenagers, actually, especially in nowadays, we are seeing this type of problem in teenagers, aged girls, and also in newly married couple actually females, where it is one of the main cause for the infertility. And that in allopathic system and other system, they are taking so much of hormones. They are going for the surgery, blasting of the cyst, and so many things. They are taking the treatment, different forms of treatments, but they are not getting the relief. Ultimately, there may be so many people they are facing a permanent, infertility will be there. So, such cases are coming regularly to our clinics. So, patient here, one patient I am quoting here, the patient by name Komala, aged around 27, came with the complaints of infertility. She has consulted various allopathic hospitals and taken hormonal treatment in Gunashila. It's one of the famous hospital in Bangalore for infertility. There also she has taken the treatment. See, you can see the IVF center. It is an IVF center also. She has taken a number of treatments since 2015. Okay. Again, in Mahavir Jain lab, actually I advised for ultrasonography. 2016, you can see the polycystic ovaries here. You can see here. And see in 2017, and then I started the treatment in 2016 in the month of 8th, actually 8th month 2016 I started the treatment. So every in 2007, okay, dated 11, but this polycystic, as patient was taken 3-4 years of hormonal treatment, she was not all right. Because of that, it was taken a long time, around 1 year of time. to treat her. In 2007 also, in 2007 in January, still polycystic ovaries were remaining. After 3-4 months of treatment, there was not much improvement. Then I have given Virechana for that patient, and then again we started the treatment in Ayurveda. There, see, in 2017, third month, enlarged right ovaries are there, polycystic ovaries are not there. You can see, but in 2017, in the second month also, a little bit polycystic ovaries are there. The size was reduced, but in 2017, third month, almost 6-7 months of treatment. Initially, 3-4 months taken to only for the purification of the body and setting that particular lady, because the irregular menstruation earlier, before she met me, there was no menstruation at all for the 3-4 months. To set it properly, set back it, back to the normal menstrual cycle, it has taken 3-4 months for me. After that, Virechana is given, it was given, and again I started the medicine. Now patient, she was all right. She was ovaries, the ovulation was normal, regular menstrual cycle was there, and again after that, after another 6 months, she conceived, and now she is the mother of one female girl, actually, one female baby. Okay, she delivered. Okay, this is the polycystic. The medicines, actually, I told about the treatment, this one, diagnosis and all. Medicine, what I was given was Rajapravartini Vati. Rajapravartini Vati is the best drug of choice in such type of polycystic ovaries. You can use Rajapravartini Vati 1 TID or 2 TID. Okay, sometimes what happens, because patient will not have 3-4 months of menstruation or 2 months of menstruation. At that time, when all of a sudden, when we give the Rajapravartini, within 1 month or 15 days to 1 month, she will have the normal menstrual cycle, but the menstrual flow will be more. At that time, patient will feel little bit, they will become little bit panic. At that time, you should convince them, no, this will happen. Later it will stop. Sometimes it will stop in 3 to 5 days. Sometimes it will go beyond the 10 days. At that time also, patient will be panicked. So you should have a dare enough to face such situations when you use Rajapravartini. But it's a very, very wonderful medicine. With that, Pradharantaka Loha, you can give Pradharantaka Loha, and that is also Rajapravartini and Pradharantaka Loha. It will be a very good medicine in such type of polycystic ovaries. Very simple medicine. One Virechana you give, Virechana with Ichha Bedi Rasa, and after that you start this Rajapravartini. Definitely within 3 to 4 months. Because why it is taking 3 to 4 months? Because we calculate it from cycle to cycle. Proper cycle should be there. At least 3-4 cycles are proper with that particular lady. Definitely you can say that polycystic ovaries are cleared. Okay, this you have to keep it in your mind. This is one of the case. And again, this is one of the rare case. What I have seen in my clinic is that is a cancer of buccal mucosa. Here patient is around 55 to 65 years. Her name is Sarojamma. She was actually from the rural background. She was a tobacco chewer, actually. And later what happened, gradually she developed a mouth ulcer, and she was neglected, that particular ulcer, and later it has developed into a cancer. And then after that they went to BGS Global Hospital, which is there in Bangalore, and they have diagnosed left buccal mass with involvement of adjacent mandible. Okay, and enlarged submandibular nodes were there, and they have diagnosed with it as a cancer, and they told to go for the surgery. Well defined squamous cell carcinoma, left lower alveolus. You can see tumor depth of 2.5 centimeter. These are all the diagnoses here. And later somebody, some of the patient, they referred that particular patient to me. They came to my clinic, and then I sent that particular patient to Shankara Cancer Hospital Research Center is there in Bangalore. Dr. Srinath, he is a MSFRCS and oncologist, oncosurgeon. and I spoke to that particular doctor. He told that as there is the involvement of lymph nodes, we'll go for the surgery, and after the surgery we have to go for the chemotherapy and radiotherapy. This is what the normal protocol they told. Then I told patient attender and doctor also. Patient attender told that, sir, we will not go for the surgery, we will not go for the chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Then I told, no, actually, as there is involvement of lymph nodes, we will go for the surgery, and chemotherapy and radiotherapy, let us see, like that I told. And then I discussed it with the doctor also. Doctor told, no, Vikram, you don't take the risk of, not to give the chemotherapy and radiotherapy. As the patient is already in fourth stage, we have to give, this is a protocol, WHO guidelines is also there. We should go for that only, chemotherapy and radiotherapy. That patient attender, they refused chemotherapy and radiotherapy because the complications, they were already knowing about this chemotherapy and radiotherapy. When we give the chemotherapy, total body will become weak and vomiting will be there and hair fall will be there. So they told that they don't, even patient dies also, we don't want this chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or even they told that they don't want surgery also. Then I requested the patient and patient attender, even with the Dr. Srinath also, we went for the surgery. This you can see in the photograph, this is the surgery which is done, say from the oral to this subclavian, this lymph nodes totally enlarged here. That surgery was done, and then Dr. Srinath, he told that you are taking risk like that. But then I told, no, any of patients attender are telling not to go for that chemotherapy. And again, after post surgery, patient came to me, and I was doing the regular dressing of this, and then I started immediately. I started with Ayurvedic medicines actually. In Ayurvedic medicines, I started Vajrabhasma, and okay. Along with that, I used to give Amrita Sattva. Okay, and this one Avipattikara Churna, Hingvastaka Churna, Amrita Sattva. I mixed Vajrabhasma. Okay. Maximum per month, one per day 1 milligrams. Okay, that much, 1 milligram, 1 mg per day, Vajrabhasma. I started this Vajrabhasma. I have given it for around 6 months. Patient has taken that Vajrabhasma and Cruel Plus for 6 months. After that, by 6 months only, patient she has become totally all right. There is no secondaries, nothing, no complications. Patient was taking proper food, everything. She has become more active than what she was before 6 months. She has become totally active. Now also she is active. There is no metastasis, nothing is there. Patient is perfectly all right. This is the videograph of the patient and patient what they have given. You can see this. After 6 months, this is how the lady is looking good. This is what this also you can see in our YouTube channel. And this is the recent photography and radiotherapy. This is a case of diabetes where a patient was having diabetes. He is a patient, name is Jairam. He is a software employee actually. Because of stress, he developed a pain in abdomen, and because of stress he got the diabetes, and diabetes level was so high, it was going behind 300 to 400. And he was taken the treatment with allopathic this one medicines. See, after that he was advised to take the insulin. Then he came, somebody has referred him to me, and he came to me, and I started with Ayurvedic medicines. That is Madhusudana. One capsule is there, Madhusudana from Pavaman company. That tablet, I started that capsule. Along with that, I started with Mehanta Koti from Sri Sri. And all of a sudden, I didn't stop with that allopathic medicines, which was taking the insulin and all. Gradually, I tapered that particular insulin, and the one fine day when diabetic level has came to the 144 and 176 for FBS and PPBS. I stopped that insulin. Again, we went for the HbA1c. It was also around 5.2. We started only with anti diabetic drugs in allopathy, and we continued this Mehanta Kavati and also Madhusudana. Gradually, that allopathic drug was also tapered, and it was stopped by now he is only on this one Madhusudana capsule 1 TID, and he is not at all taking any allopathic medicines. Only by doing some diets and exercises, he has become totally all right. You can see the next is actually it is in fact now you can see the small boy, baby boy, you can see. Okay. And next is executive engineering in Government of Karnataka. Her name is Gayatri. Patient she was having a severe get cured by her disease. Later she came to me, and she has become alright. These videos you can see in YouTube channel. You will understand what is it and all. Once again, this is the infertility case, male infertility, where sperm count was nothing, azospermia was there, oligospermia, azospermia, and infertility. They were also taken treatment with many of the doctors, and finally they came to me, and they have given some bites here. Okay, this you can see there are also. This is another one patient for the every month she was supposed to take a steroids injection once in a month, and also she was facing a giddiness, and she was not able to walk, not able to sit. Okay, and also she was told that she is going to live only for 6 months. By taking the treatment also, they came here and they have taken the treatment. Now she is all right, and she is married also now. Okay, this is one case you can see. Okay, this small girl, and then they came to me, and within 1 week she was all right. This is the video bite which is given by Udvita also. You can listen to it in this one. Okay, so patients through the only through the Ayurvedic medicines and Rasaushadhis, and also I request you, all of you, please believe in Ayurveda, believe in Rasaushadhis. You be strong enough in your knowledge and in your preparations. Then only you can give maximum satisfaction, maximum results to the patients. And herewith, I would like to thank all the organizing committee members, and especially my special thanks to Dr. K.C. Das sir, the principal, for giving such a wonderful opportunity to present myself in front of you. Thank you so much to all. Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Madam.
Hello.
Madam.
Hello,
Madam.
sir. Thank you.
Madam.
Hello. Thank you, sir,
Madam.
for the wonderful presentation. Here we have some questions.
Yeah, madam.
Sir, in first case, for how many days we should prescribe the Rasaushadhis, because the chances of recurrence is also there, no? Of course, with the treatment, amputation, without amputation, it has been removed.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
for how many days we should prescribe that Rasoshadis, those Rasoshadis, so that recurrence should be avoided.
Yeah, actually, what the treatment plan is, first is the diagnosis of the disease. Okay, after diagnosis, when you see the complication, you start whenever you start the resources. First, you look into the things that how is the digestive system of the patient, how is the digestive capacity. You look into the liver function test and all. After that, you start the medicine slowly with a minimum dose, and then you reach that dose to the maximum tolerable dose what we can do to the give it to the patient. And then finally, once the disease will come down, whatever the signs and symptoms will be there, whatever the disease is there, when it comes down, at that time you taper the medicine, and for another looking into the condition of the patient, you give the treatment for another 1 month. After that you can give only the rasayana therapies, madam. Rasayanas you can give for another 15 days to 1 month. When you give the rasayanas, you can restore the loss of the vitamins and other things which were there to the body. Okay, madam.
Sir,
That depends
generally-
upon the patient to patient. Yeah,
Huh, sir.
yeah, madam.
Sir, there is a concept, no, sir.
Yeah.
Mandala, one mandala, any Rasoshadi we are prescribing, it should be prescribed for one mandala, then we should take a gap. Whether how far it is applicable in such
That, madam, it depends upon the patient. For I have given more than
Sir,
8 months, even 1 year also. From patient to patient, madam. Yeah. Hello.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Madam.
sir, this patient is very
Yeah.
delicate patient. Sometimes reoccurrence also occurs in this wound.
Yeah, see, madam, no disease, we cannot say to all the disease that it will not reoccur. Okay. Hello.
Sir,
It may reoccur, madam, at any part of the time. It may reoccur. Only thing, the patient should be properly followed. Patient attention towards the medicine also is very, very important. Once we cured, see, today cough and cold has come, we cannot say that tomorrow it is not coming. Okay. When we, if proper diet and proper medicine is not followed, definitely the diseases may reoccur at any part of the time. Even it may be same with the PCOD also. Isn't it, madam?
Okay, sir, thank you,
I
sir.
have seen so many patients in the first day will come for the infertility where PCOD, it was diagnosed for the PCOD, and that was the cause for the infertility. Then we have given the treatment for the patient is conceived and delivered also. After post delivery, another 1 or 2 years they are not following proper diet and proper exercise, again PCOD will reoccur. Isn't it, madam?
Sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is one more question.
Yeah, madam, please.
Sir, in case 2, you have prescribed Virechana, whether
Yeah.
it is classical Virechana,
Definitely, madam. Definitely, it is a classical Virechana.
if it
I
is,
have given Gugulu Tiktaka Gruta Snehapana.
sir.
Okay, with Gugulu Tikta Gruta, 30 ml, 60 ml, 90 ml, and 120 ml. Okay, like this. After that, 3 days Swedana. You can choose the oil for Swedana according to your will and wish, line of treatment. And Virechana, actually I prefer only with Icha Bedirasa, madam. I give Icha Bedirasa 1 tablet in early morning after taking the massage and bath, in empty stomach with cold water. What I do is I just crush that Icha Bedirasa and mix it with cold water, and I tell the patient to swallow it. Okay. Okay, madam. And after every 15 minutes, I tell them to take 1 glass of water around 100 ml within 35 to 40. Madam,
Water or warm water?
in normal cold water, madam. Cold water. and every 10 to 15 minutes they should take 100 ml of cold water. Within 30 to 40 minutes they will start some irritation in the stomach, and after 40-45 minutes they starts virechana starts. Okay, first, second, third, fourth notes like that. Whenever they go for the motion, that is virechana, and they come back, they should keep on drinking cold water till they drink cold water for 10 times, how much they want, because depending upon the nature of the disease and also strength of the patient, we can go for, they can go for the virechana 5 times, 10 times, 15 times like that. When they want to stop, when they want to stop, at that time they should take a warm water, 1 cup of warm water if they take, okay, immediately virechana is going to stop. This is the speciality, and this is the beauty of that Ichabedi Rasa actually. 1 cup of hot water if they take, after taking 1 cup of hot water, they will pass loose motion once or twice, that's it. Immediately it is going to stop, madam. It's a very wonderful medicine, madam, actually. In my practice, for virechana, I never go for any other lehas, Trivrut Leha and other. I only give Ichabedi Rasa, madam. Only thing, we should keep proper hydrating the patient with water. 1 pinch to that water. If the patient is not diabetic, you can go for mixing some glucose powder to that, or ORS powder. Or you can, if patient is diabetic, you can go for only ORS with otherwise only plain water with pinch of Saindavala, madam. That will keep a patient maximum hydrated, madam.
Sir,
Yeah.
अगर you the basti karma.
For what? For what?
In PCOD.
Madam.
Virechana karma. Give the matra basti.
Matra basti, you can give, madam, but actually there is avaroda will be there, no? Avaroda. Kapha, avaroda will be there, no, madam. Pitta will be avaroda by kapha, Hello.
In Modi place of the basti karma. In that purpose, give the basti, matra basti. So use.
Madam, but I tried this and I got the success. Okay. In this one, PCOD, I didn't try matra basti, madam. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
I will take your suggestion, madam. I will try in the next patients. Let me see, madam.
Okay.
Sir, next one more question is there, sir. In case of
Please,
CA of buccal mucosa, you have prescribed Vajra Basma 1 gram per day.
Not 1 gram, madam. 1 milligram.
Okay, sir.
1 milligram.
1 milligram per day. And it was given almost for 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, madam.
And what is the Anupana, sir? And any
Anupana,
other sir.
I am not that much particular about Anupana, madam. Usually, I used to tell all the patients to take with honey. Okay. Whatever basmas I give it with honey only. Okay, madam.
Vajra Basma?
Yeah, madam.
Sir, only with the Vajra Basma we can treat it, sir, or any other medicines have been given?
See, madam, 1 milligram is a very small dose. You cannot divide it into 1 milligram to 30
sir,
days.
I am asking, any other Aushadhi Dravyas have been prescribed, or only with the Vajra Basma you have treated this, sir?
No, I mixed that Vajra Basma with this one, madam. Hingvastaka Churna, I told, no? Hingvastaka Churna. Okay. And if there is kapha, you can add Talisadi Churna or Sitapaladi Churna. Okay, madam. And also, I have mixed with this Gilay Sattva, Amrita Sattva. So, what I am doing, Vajra Basma, I will take 100 milligrams. Okay, 100 milligrams on pack will come. Okay, madam. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Continue.
In to that I will calculate 100 milligrams means it should come for maximum 100 days. Okay, 90 to 100 days or 3 months. Okay, like that I divide it, and to that particular I will add some ingvastaka churna, sitopaladi churna accordingly by calculating that. Every day she used to take a one spoon. Okay, 1 spoon per day. Okay, madam. Okay, like that we will calculate, madam. Because earlier what our ancient acharyas used to do, they used to make if it is 30 days, they used to take small chits of 30, and they used to give every day one you take, isn't it?
Sir.
That also you can make, but if you don't have time, you can mix it properly and tell the patient, show the patient with the small teaspoon will come, no? In that teaspoon, one spoon per day, they have to mix, take it in a plate, that particular, mix 2 to 3 spoon of honey, mix it properly and lick it. Okay, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir,
That
what
would be
about the
better.
food pattern, sir? What should be the patya? Because
Patya means
it has taken 5 to 6 months.
Yeah. Definitely, madam. Patya, I tell them not to go for non-veg. Okay, non-veg, spicy food I avoid totally. I avoid spicy food. Okay, madam. And this one curries and all is fried, oil cooked food will be there. No, madam. That also. And I avoid maximum these curds and all curds. Okay, madam. I tell only to go for rice, okay, wheat and other light food. That's it. Maximum ganji like that. Okay, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Madam.
Thank you, sir.
Madam.
Sir, last one question, sir.
Yeah, please, madam. You can ask.
Sir. In PCOD condition,
Yeah.
we can use only Rajapravartini Vati or any other Rasaushadhis can be prescribed, sir.
Pradharantaka or Pradrashamaka Vati is coming, madam.
Sir.
That also, because sometimes irregular menstruation will be there. Okay. Along with PCOD, some white discharge will be there. Okay, madam. At that time, Rajapravartini Vati is the drug of choice. Along with that, by looking into the condition, you can change other drugs also, madam. Pradharantaka Vati or Pradrashamaka Vati will come. Okay, madam. Along with that, Navayasa Loha is coming. Okay. If there is anemia, something associated, or sometimes what happens, madam, in PCOD also there will be a thyroid problem will be associated with that, madam. That is one of the major thing actually. We have to go for proper analysis of thyroid hormones. Okay, madam. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
See, in my practice, I didn't find a good medicine treatment. So I used to consult some allopathic doctors for the thyroid. They are prescribing Thyronorm or Thyroxine or Entroxin, such type of medicines. Okay. Whenever if patient is already taking that particular drug, I am not going to stop that particular thyroid hormonal supplements. Okay, madam. Because that is also one of the main cause for the PCOD. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, thank you for wonderful presentation and discussion and a clarification of our doubts, sir. Now I hand over the mic to our HOD, Dr. Neela Sudi, madam, for vote of thanks, sir.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Vikram, SDMS, MD, Professor and HOD of the Rashastra and Rasajya Kalpana, Sri Ayurvedic Medical College of Ayurveda Science and Research, Udayapur, Bangalore. Thank you all participants of all faculty members, PG scholars and UG students and for different colleges and also our students. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of our college and our staff members, our principal and our management members, once again I thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. Thank you, sir.